Hi, so today we're going to go over a video demonstration of connecting and installing the GEMS system, and then we're going to do a flight test with it, and then we're going to show you how to use the GEMS tool to analyze the data that's collected with this sensor. So on this table here we have all of the components for the GEMS system, and we're just going to show you, systematically how it's all connected, and then we'll actually show it in a test vehicle. So here on the table we've got the actual GEMS payload here on this ESD baggie. And we have a remote I/O board. I'll explain that in a minute. We have one GPS antenna. We have the thumb drive and interface cable that ships with the device. And we have two cables here. This is for the remote I/O board, and this is for power. So the only connections that are actually required for this system to work is GPS, the GPS antenna here, the thumb drive where it's going to store the data, and then power to power the system. This is optional, and I'll explain what that's for in a minute. So let's go ahead and connect our main components. So here's the SMA connector for the GPS antenna. We want that to be tight, but we want that to be firm, but not overly tight. Okay. And now we're going to take our thumb drive, connect it to our interface cable here. Okay. And we're going to connect it to one of the two USB ports on the device. You've got two of them right here, and you can connect it to either one. It doesn't matter. You want a good firm connection though. All right. And then we've got our power cable. Now the power system on the GEMS device is very flexible. It can take DC input anywhere from 9 to 40 volts, and it will handle all of the regulation from there. So we've got a 12-volt battery here we're going to use today. And so here's our cable. We're just going to plug it in. Another nice thing about this is that the power system is polarity agnostic, so you don't have to worry about plus and minus. You can just connect it in either orientation, and it will work just fine. Okay, so this is the core system. We've got the antenna, the system, the thumb drive, and power. We do recommend that when you connect the power on your actual device, you put a switch in line with it so that you can easily connect and disconnect power to the device externally, without having to go in there and fiddle with cables. Okay, so there's one other connection here which is optional. So if you look at the system, you've got 5 LEDs on the PCB here and one push button. Now these are the interface to the device. This is how we figure out what is it doing, and we can switch into a manual mode here using that push button. Now, depending on how you've got this mounted in your vehicle, these may or may not be visible or accessible when you're actually using the system. So if it's in a fixed-wing aircraft, for instance, and this is in your fuselage, this is not easy to get to. So we include a remote I/O board, which is this, and all it does is it gives you that push button and those LEDs on a little circuit board. And they're basically hardwired to those. They mirror what these do functionally. So we'll connect this here. That's a little snug there. All right, there we go. And we'll connect it to this header here. If you don't remember which one it is, all of the Pico blade headers on this board have different sizes. So if you've got the connector and it fits in the header, you've got it on the right one. So there we go, just like that. Now, if you were to install this in your vehicle, you'd want this to be somewhere where you can actually see it and get to it, so you can, see what's going on. Okay, so this is the system. I'll just do one brief power up here so we can see what it looks like when you power the system on. You can see the little light comes on telling us that it's trying to initialize and acquire GPS, and you can see that on the remote I/O board you've got the same thing there. And since we're indoors, it will not be able to acquire GPS, but we'll show you what this looks like in an RC vehicle, and then we're going to take it for a flight. Okay, so here we've taken the system that we were just looking at laid out on the table here, and we've actually installed it in an RC vehicle for today's flight. I want to show you, first of all, our GPS, so you can get close to this here. Here's our GPS antenna that's included with the GEMS system. It's a patch antenna, and you can see on the top of the wing here we've put a copper ground plane, and this greatly improves the quality of GPS reception in general. So we recommend doing this for all GPS antennas. You can see ours here is just some copper tape, 3M copper tape that works quite well for this. The one we're using here is about 3 3/4 inches by 4 4/4 inches. You can take a look at our hardware manual for for recommended dimensions there. Okay, so let me take this off, and we'll look inside here. So you can see this is the system that we were looking at. You can see that the only connections in there are the ones that we had, on the table. We've got our GPS here. We've got the optional remote I/O board connected, and then we have our thumb drive connected and our power. And our power here runs to a switch that we have on the side of the plane. So you can see that this switch here will provide power to the payload on demand. So you can see on the other side here, this is where we got our remote I/O board. The back of this is completely flat, so you could double stick tape this to anything wherever it's convenient for your vehicle. Okay, so yeah, so I'm going to pick this up now. We can look at the bottom side of it. So you can see that opening there where we got our two cameras pointed through the middle of the fuselage, and you can see that they're sort of level, pointed straight down in the vehicle. And then we've got a little opening here where we can get at our thumb drive very easily from the outside of the vehicle. Okay, so we're going to go take this out and take it for a flight. Okay, so we're about ready to fly the GEM system here. So you can see we've got the plane put together, the wings on it now. There's the antenna on top, which we saw before, and we haven't changed anything internally, so it's the setup that we previously looked at. It's really easy to use. We're just going to flip that switch. That's going to give power to the payload. And now we're going to look at that light. That's going to tell us when the system is initialized and ready to go. So it takes about 30 to 35 seconds usually. Okay, so now that the light's solid, that means we've got our system's initialized, we've got GPS, and we can fly it. And once we get in the air, the system will automatically detect that we've taken off, and it will start recording imagery until it detects that we've landed. So we're going to go ahead and fly now.